It's not over until I win.
I was in jail and I looked out the window and everybody else was going on with their lives. You know what I realized? Nobody cares about you.
At the bottom of every pit, when I would actually hit the foundation of truth, it was, dude, I'm pissed and I'm gonna prove you wrong.
If you're not climbing that mountain with me, have a good day.
Life is a pitch. It's simply that. It is a pitch and it is fun. Let's make sure that you're being sold what you want and you're selling what you actually want to sell. I really just love selling. It's the easiest thing on the planet if you believe in yourself. Let's buckle up. By the way, my name's JL. This is Sell Anything.
So this episode contains a little bit more sensitive information that some may be triggered by. Buckle up. They're important topics that need to be discussed. They're a part of the world we live in. If they trigger you, sorry, you've been warned. Hop on in and have some fun. Welcome to the show. This is a Sell Anything podcast. This is my buddy Ryan Stream. We're so excited to have him on. Dude, your story is incredible. We want to hear all about it. Leave some people inspired by it. That's what you do.
Well, let's start with, I'm not a New York fan at all.
Good.
I was just there speaking at some school districts, so I had to show up on stage with this. So, and I know, the New York team's playing in the NBA playoffs right now, but let's just get that out of the way. So.
I appreciate that. Because when you showed up in the hat, I was like, dude, all right, man. Why the Mets? But I guess that's what we're doing.
Yeah, truth is I'm a Jazz fan, but they suck. So
they're not great.
They're good at marketing and they can sell anything. They sell us on hope. So I'm still hopeful.
It will happen. One day it will happen. Because you're right. They are incredible at the craft of selling hope. Man. It's coming, dude. So Ryan, tell us about you, dude. Tell us where you're at now. Just tell us the successes.
I love it. Guys, I love words. I love cameras. And I love the ability to stand on a stage and influence people. Today, I'm a 2-time Army veteran, retired from the Army. I got an early retirement. My wife and I, we have about 10 small incomes. We own 4 small businesses. I'm a best-selling author. I have music awards, millions of views on social media, but more importantly, I help build people. So that's what I do, man. That's my whole mission, is to build other people, just like somebody helped build me when I was in the 2nd grade.
I love it, dude. 2nd grade. Tell us a little bit about that. What happened in the 2nd grade?
Well, I was just adopted. We'll get into that story in a little bit. I was in a bathtub scrubbing my skin until I started to bleed, hoping that I was white, just like the family that adopted me. And I remember I was so heartbroken because I was adopted into a different family, just watched my family be ripped away. But I cried because I wasn't white and it hurt. Yeah. And in the 2nd grade, we all went to Emory High School, to the auditorium for an assembly. Okay. And this guy, he stood on the stage and I felt like he was talking to me, man. I really thought that's my hero right there. He was the guy and he is the guy. And he said, no matter what happens in your life, you have the ability to change it. Whatever you think about, whatever you speak about, you will become. And my whole life, I wanted to be a hero. And I said, one day I'm going to be like him. I went home, I started practicing the piano. And 27 years later, I was on the same stage playing the same piano in front of the same school district, bro. Manifestation at its best.
I love it.
That's
beautiful.
Woo, man. I love that, dude. I love that story, man.
Do you remember what the dude's name was?
No. I've even asked the school, and man, it's just been so many years ago. I was, in the second or 3rd grade, right around that time. And, now I'm 36 this next month. And so people don't remember, and actually psychology tells us, I learned this when I was going to school, and B, when I met my hero, another hero, Les Brown, is after 24 hours, 70% of people forget. No matter what you and I talk about here today, we might be in tears because that's a moment, that's special. And that does have the ability to transform and change people's lives. But after 24 hours, 70% of people forget. Yeah. After 7 days, you're in the 90%. After 10 days, 98% of people forget. So it doesn't matter how amazing that person was, 98% of the people there forgot. Yeah. But the one person in that moment where I had a moment that was positively able to affect my life moving forward, I was the 2% left that remembered.
That's beautiful, dude. And that kind of correlates and ties in with the idea of the 1% that has all the success.
Yeah.
That's a different rabbit hole we could go down, but that's what it made me think of. Now, Les Brown, let's lean into that just for a second. One of my favorite quotes, and it's all over social media, but he's like, he gets on this rant.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And then at the end, he's like, it's not over until I
win.
win. Yeah.
Oh, man, I
Right?
love that.
I think that your life embodies that, dude.
I appreciate
it
that.
100% embodies that. So one thing that as the show has evolved, that a lot of the feedback that we've been getting is you bring these people on the show that have told all their successes, but they haven't really shared, well, what were the kicks in the teeth? What actually happened? What were the aha moments, the epiphanies of, oh, I'm changing the game? Sounds like one happened in second grade.
Yeah.
But give us some of the failures, dude.
Yeah.
Because right now, all of the highlights at the beginning, which you were modest in them, there's more.
Yeah.
But a ton of highlights already. But what were the pits you had to kind of dig through to get to that peak?
Yeah, I appreciate that, dude, because a lot of times we pull up to somebody's house, we think, wow, you're lucky. What people need to understand is that your struggles when you're teaching other people are their steps. And that's what people forget.
That's a good one.
You know what I mean? It's like, let me show you me getting my butt kicked. What was it like being ambushed? What was it like being afraid? What was it like begging for food at a homeless shelter or seeing your mom when she had blood on her face? What was that like?
Right.
I learned a lot, especially when I went back to school and I studied, is emotions are all the same, right? What happened with your mom and your dad, right?
Yeah.
Your little kid can go break your heart and you feel the same emotions of sad, frustration, anger. That's what I've learned. So I had to learn, okay, if everything that I've ever experienced equal the same emotions, and if I don't work on my emotions, you go down the rabbit hole that ends up equaling depressed, right? We can go through anger. What does anger make you feel like? What does sad make you feel like? What does less of a it all equals depression. And the opposite of depression is progression. So what steps did you take, I take, and my friend over there take to progress out of those dark places?
I like it, dude. Okay, so what are the steps?
Okay, so my first book I ever wrote was Conquering Your Coliseum.
Okay.
Right? I was homeless shelter, foster care. My mom took her life when I was in the 9th grade. I turned to drugs, went to war twice. 23 out of the 32 I was with was blown up. One was killed, lost my job. Anyways, down that road, right? Almost lost my family. 7 years ago, 8 years ago now, I was in a car with a plan to end my life, a subject I take very serious. I even went to the suicide prevention courses that the military would send people to. Yeah. I struggled. I got fired from Materia on a job. They're making about $39 an hour right now out there. Very good job, dude. And I started coaching football. I started speaking like this on a camera, trying to get views. And dude, everything went to crap. I would wake up in the middle of the night. I would search for the enemy at my house. My wife would be on the edge of the bed, just literally in tears saying, Ryan, nobody's out there. And then I started lying and going to bars and I was going back down the hill of addiction and struggle. And I rolled a car. And anyways, I was in a car with a plan to end my life. And I was punching the steering wheel, dude, screaming, why me? I'm a good person. Many of you out there listening, you're a good person. You're nice to people. You say hi to people. You might serve people. You might, whatever your religious preference is, you might go to church. You might do all of the things, but why you? Like Les Brown, Eric Thomas says, why not you?
I like it.
If struggles build strength, why not you?
Right.
You know, and when I was in that car, I swerved last minute. I already had a plan. Most people, when they say they're going to take their lives, they don't have a plan. Kids, children, youth, adults, whatever stage of life. I've been on 500 stages, over 500 stages probably now, 32 states. And I have many people tell me, I'm going to take my life. I say, how? And they don't have an answer. So therefore, they're not there yet. Psychology also tells us when somebody is actually there, they have 10 minutes to change their life. How is the fastest way I've learned to change people's life? Music. So what do? Music. After I swerved, I needed to get out in a different mindset. I just turned on the radio. It was country music. I got to my house. My back hit my wall. And I just told my wife, I've lost it. Dude, we sold our house because I wanted to build a real estate empire.
Yeah.
And then I moved us into a duplex and then I lost everything.
Okay.
So step one, I realized as I was going through counseling, I went to the VA in Salt Lake City. And dude, I said, I'm going to lose my family. My wife was called her mom, or was right on the verge of calling her mom to come pick her up.
Oh, geez.
So, and we just had a second child.
Yeah.
So everybody at work before I got let go was like, you're dumb, you're stupid. I can't believe they would allow you to carry a weapon. And I remember going home that night And my wife putting her hands on my shoulder, she had no idea I was just had a plan to end my life.
Yeah.
And dude, in that situation, you want to talk about being so close to death. I have been ambushed, crushed in a semi, rolled a vehicle. I've had many experiences, but this is the one experience where I could really say it was like those cartoons where there's an angel and a demon.
Yeah.
And the demon was saying, I was still in the military at this time, just exiting. I was still at work technically. So I had benefits. And I remember the side of my shoulder saying, you have benefits. Your family's going to be okay financially. They're going to be taken care of. And then on this side, it was
half truth.
Yeah, the half truth.
Okay.
And on this side, the reason why I swerved is I remember a whisper, a voice, or whatever you want to call it. I call it the spirit. Said, why would you want to leave your children the way your mom left you? Powerful. That was and I love my mom. Why did I get adopted? My mother was raped twice by the age of 12 years old. Both of her parents died by the age of 12. She fell in love with a man that beat her into a coma. You see, my mother had a very different life than you and I are giving our children. And it's so easy to say, oh, those kids are trouble. But we need to remember that they didn't have the guidance as some of us have had. Right. So it's up to you to teach your children to help guide those people along, because every person can be saved. I got saved out of this situation that I was in, the darkest place of my life. As I got home, I realized I needed a job now. I had 2 mouths to feed. I had a wife that was crying, but she put her hands on my shoulder and she said, Ryan, I believe in you. That's why I married you. At this time, I've been to war twice. I've already experienced so much life, being a drug addict, going to jail 8 times, pulled over 3 times with drugs, 2 times with drugs. I can't remember 2 or 3 times, but that was me.
Yeah.
But my wife still was like, you got this. So I sat up late. I wrote down everything. I'm an idiot. I'm dumb, everything. But how am I going to solve it? I learned right then and there, number 1, it's a self-evaluation. Nothing in your life, in your relationship, in your marriage, in your school, nothing in life can change until you're truthful. The foundation of everything's built on honesty.
100%.
You see, and people can't be honest. It hurts. It hurts to go back and revisit those experiences. And what people need to realize too is things happen to you. They do. We were talking about your life, your experiences, and that's what built the foundation here for you and I to speak and to build upon, right? Right. Having common ground with people. That's the fastest way to get people to like you, common ground, and like them first.
It's true.
That's what we have. That's why I'm here. We have that. And anyways, I did the self-evaluation and I realized, okay, there's things that need to change.
Right.
That's step 1.
That's true, dude. That is so true.
In your life, how is that must to have happened, bro. The circumstances you saw your mom get hauled off in the ambulance.
Yeah.
As a child, that's traumatic. And what does that teach children? Like, oh, well, this is how life's supposed to go. Yeah. But you got to be the one. Somebody's got to be the one to say, whoa, this is not how I want life. Whether you knew it or not, you did a self-evaluation on yourself.
Oh, 100%, dude. I actually, amongst our sales guys and the dudes we train, we live by the code. And I give credit to Garrett J. White on that. It's the code is the truth, dude. The truth will set you free.
Amen.
And if you're going to lie, then you're going to continue to be stuck.
Yep.
But the moment you can remove all the slippery sand from the foundation of truth, you can start to get some traction and go up the hill from there. Yep. But truth is 100% the foundation of all success.
Dang, I love when you say, when you lie, what is lie? Lie's darkness.
Yeah.
Right? And who you are in the dark comes to
light.
That's what people don't realize, bro. That's why I love being in the dark. Because I'm going to freaking, you know what I mean? I rode my bike 9 miles here, bro. Being crushed in a semi, bro. Like my leg don't work. My brain, I got damaged, dude. 70 miles an hour ran into the back of a semi, bro. Ripped the cab off the truck. But I know right now nobody's seeing me.
Yeah.
Nobody sees me walking, going to the gym. Nobody sees you. But when you take your shirt off, and people's going to say, that's my dad right there.
Yeah.
My little girls are going to be proud of dad when he takes his shirt off. My little girl's going to be like, that's the standard. You see a lot of people when they lie, when they cheat, when they steal, when they do all these foolish things, those are standards. That's the one thing that keeps people fat, skinny, fit, depressed, happy. It's your standards.
Yeah. It's
and
true.
it starts with the self-evaluation and honesty, because if you lie to yourself,
Lie to everybody else.
lie to everybody else.
100%, my man. Dude, you're spot on. And it's true, dude. I pulled up for my son's graduation this morning, and Ryan's sitting out at the top of my driveway.
Beautiful house, by the way. The guy works hard. Beautiful, man.
Oh, thanks, man. But he's sitting at the top of my driveway on a bike, and I'm like, bro, did you ride your bike here? And he's like, yeah, I rode it from down in the bottom of town. Dude, it's all uphill to my house. All uphill. 9 miles. All uphill.
Yeah, almost 9 miles. Yeah.
And he's not even sweating, dude. They didn't even break a sweat.
I have a giant bike. It's an e-bike, but it's a pedal assist, so it doesn't do the work for you.
Nice.
But I mean, it helps. But like I said, I got some nerve damage and things that I'm working through, but I'm not using excuses. You know what I mean? Because, dude, excuses only sound good to other people. That's why people don't change.
Right.
Well, who cares, dude? I don't care.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're the only person that cares. And most people, when they're not living up to their standards, they do two things. Okay. Admire the people that are crushing standards, or they hate on the people because they can't reach their standards. Well, not nuts. There's only two.
Yeah.
The people that cheer for you, or the people that look the other way. That's my opinion. But could you see any different? There's people that clap for you and admire you. Right. Or there's people that hate on you because you're doing better. Is there another way? Please, in the comments.
Yeah.
I need to ask AI. I don't know. But I've always looked at it that way, because sometimes I can catch myself.
I think there's one other way.
Tell me, please.
I think there are people who are neutral and they don't even care. They're so lost in their own lies.
Ooh, you know what?
They're so lost in their own lies that they don't even look up to see what's happening. And they just go through life sedated.
Wow. Okay. Dude, I appreciate you bringing that to I just had a different paradigm shift here today. And that is so true. Yeah. Sometimes people, they just don't care.
Yeah.
You know, there's a video that came out a long time ago where this guy, you probably seen it because he talked on that same subject, where he was literally recording a video like this and somebody walked right through.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, are you kidding me? Somebody walked right through, and he was like this nerd guy. You didn't even expect the scientific reasoning out of him. Yeah. But he said exactly what you said. It's like sometimes people are just going through life.
Yeah.
They don't even realize they're just going through life. Dude.
What ties in directly to what you were saying is, in order to have a self-evaluation, you got to wake up. You got to realize you're living in the darkness. Yep. You got to realize you're lying to yourself.
Yep.
Or that you're being lied
And that's
to.
hard, dude. That is hard. Yep. But you imagine the breakthrough moment that you had.
Yeah.
Like for me, that was like, you need help. Yeah. Like, whoa, gee, I'm a man. I'm a warrior. What are you telling me I need? Oh, and then you freak out, which is evidence that you need help.
Right.
But I think people also need to realize is you don't have all the answers.
You don't.
You know what I mean? And there's people that have, I personally know people, dude, I've been to events where 20 years old, they're crazy amounts of money. Unhappy.
100%.
People that have these beautiful things that they're divorced. They're and you know, there's no, whatever works for you. There's people that look like they're doing amazing. They're not amazing. It's you know, you're whatever life throws at you, whatever experiences or objects or struggles you're supposed to go through, it's all the same. But all I'm saying is, during your self-evaluation, let's bring this back, right? Because I want to add this. During your self-evaluation, if you're married, you need to bring your wife in on it.
100%.
I didn't want to, I know I'm kind of, but I want to go back to that because I don't want to, if you're not on the same page as your wife, your marriage is going to fail.
It's a lie. You're living in a lie. If your wife doesn't know what you're doing and you're hiding stuff from her, you're lying.
Amen. Okay. Yes. Yeah. It's a lie. And now statistics say in my family science class, it was 49%, but somebody said 51%. So let's just say 49 to 51%. Statistics say married people get divorced. That's 1 out of every 2.
That's stupid.
It is stupid. And think about it. What helps you and your wife stay married? You build together.
Right.
Dude, start building with your family religiously, mentally, spiritually, emotionally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you're going to change, please keep in mind, just because you change doesn't mean your wife has to change.
Valid.
That's where you have to find common ground.
That's a ton of truth.
And boundaries. And that's where a lot of people struggle. Right. Well, I want to do this. Well, that's great. That's you. You're your own person and that's your opinion. But I'm going to go get a motorcycle. My wife was so against it, bro. Got a motorcycle, blew the engine in a month, put us $4,500 in the hole because it needed a new motor. I wanted another motorcycle and she flipped out. But then I realized, wait a minute, she just wants to keep us safe. you know, bought the motorcycle, the engine. I blew the engine. I was showing off, revving it up, turned the bike off, blew the engine. Now, who does that affect? Me and my wife.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Then she didn't want me to have a motorcycle, and I threw a big fit, but then I realized why. And she said it one time. She's like, because I love you, and if anything happened to you, right? So sometimes we need to do those self-evaluations. Actually, all the time if you're married, yes, for yourself, but with your spouse, with the one you're going to marry, right?
Yeah.
Because people, they get so caught up into men especially. I'm not saying this just because it's my opinion. I was watching a video this morning where this husband says, well, yeah, but I was trying to get that life from my family. I'm doing it for my family. And they get so blinded in just the success that they forget about the true success.
Right.
So if they're not doing the self-evaluation with that's why January 1st, everyone thinks, oh, it's so stupid. I think it's wonderful. A time to get together and to go over your goals with your family. What a special moment.
I agree.
And people are always like, oh, that's so stupid. You should be doing it all the time.
I agree.
Right. So self-evaluation is so important. Well, how do you do a self-evaluation? You know, there's that individual, I'm not going to say his name because he's not sharing this, but he says, get naked, stand in the mirror and judge yourself. Dang. It's like, are you happy with what you see? Yes, or it's a yes or no question.
Yeah.
Would your 7-year-old self be proud of you? Because when you were 7 years old, I didn't know you, but I know you were playing cowboys and Indians and heroes and
for sure.
Who knows, you know?
Yeah.
So was I.
Yeah.
Why? Because all of us were influenced by the same channels that had a television inside of their homes.
Yeah.
And it's marketing by Disney. They're not fools, right? Be a hero, buy a hero. Come to Disneyland, buy the cape. You know what I mean? They're not stupid.
Yeah.
But we learn that from them.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing a self-evaluation with yourself and your family, bro, that's like a ship going out in the middle of the ocean without a compass and a map, you're lost.
Agreed.
The self-evaluation puts you back on course.
So I'm in a group, in a mastermind. It's called Warrior, right? Mm-hmm. Now in this, there's a handful of tools that are inside of an app. The app is really, really cool because it helps with men specifically. The Warrior group is a group of men. Most of them are married businessmen. Yeah. And so it's your body, your being, your balance, your business. And so with your body, it's making sure that you're fueling it correctly and that you're lifting or you're doing something to move and train your body, right?
Yeah.
Your being is your connection to God and just having that spiritual essence of you alive and well so you can stay connected to the truth. Because where truth is, God is. Yep. Where God is, transformation is possible. Yep. And then the balance is all about your family. Because there's so many dudes who get out there and they get going and all of a sudden they forget what they're doing it for, right? And then their wife leaves them. Yep. Or their kids are estranged from them, want nothing to do with them because they were never around. Yeah. Oh, so it's making those daily deposits into their family. And then the business obviously speaks for itself. That's how we fund the other three. Yeah. You can't fund your spirit, but it feels good to have money. It feels good. Now, with that though, the self-evaluation, there's a weekly evaluation. It's called the General's Tent, where basically you just sit down and you look at the week. This is what I did well. This is what the wins were. This is where I need to work. This is what we need to fix. And it's just that weekly evaluation. So you're never that far off target. But he calls it standing in a box of mirrors, where basically you just get in there naked and you're like, so I don't have any lats, huh? All right, somebody probably do something there. Like it's cool, man. They're cool tools. Yeah.
I love that. And I love that you guys actually have it written down because a lot of times people don't know how.
Right.
And most people are lazy. Right?
Oh, all people are lazy.
All people are lazy.
I'm so lazy.
Me too, dude. I almost didn't ride my bike here. And then I was like, don't be lazy, dude. You're going to be on stage, right? It's things that we do in the dark. But again, that self-evaluation is done in the dark.
Right.
Right. Unless you're a public speaker and you put most of your flaws out there and then how I accomplished them. And, another way I accomplished them is step 2.
Okay.
One of the biggest pills and the biggest pill for me to swallow was accountability.
Oh,
dude,
that stings.
Man, you see, because a lot of times people are like, no, I'm good. I had a good week today. I don't need to. The military, whether you're on missions, off missions, getting ambushed, out of ambushed, no matter what part of your military career you're at, every time we do something, we come back, we do what's called an AAR, an after action review. What was supposed to happen, what should have happened, and then what will happen next time. Yeah. So we evaluate ourselves. But, there's a lot of times you'll see a leader, even leaders, bro, they're still people, right? Yeah. Sometimes people are just given a leadership role because they need a spot to fill. Yeah. Right. And then you have people that are watching and learning, which is great because you're watching and learning.
Right.
But what I've noticed is even leaders, even and they're not my favorite leaders. They're not my best leaders, but they gave me an opportunity to learn through their leadership, right? What kind of leader I don't want to be. As soon as I realized taking accountability, people that work under you love you. Your spouse loves you. The people around you love you because you're in a position where people may look at for guidance and you say, hey, I messed up.
Yeah.
Or, hey, I don't know all the answers. Like, hey, what do you got to share? You could learn something from everybody, but accountability also says you need to take blame, right? Living in a homeless shelter, watching your mom get hauled off in an ambulance, seeing your dad job change all the time, me being adopted into a family, having to navigate that. It's life happens to you. Yeah. And sometimes you don't get to choose, right? I didn't want to be crushed in a semi in December, but it happened. Yeah. Life happens. Yeah. Mike Tyson says, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. Accountability says, okay, I got punched in the face. Ow, that hurt. How am I going to react to it?
100%. So it happened to me, but what's in it for me?
Yep. And I love, and I love another saying. I think it's Eric Thomas. He says, what happens to you for you. Yeah. Isn't that cool, dude? If most people realized, and it took me a long time to realize this, but it's like, we've all heard it. We're all going to die. True. Nobody makes it out alive. In my new book, I talk about Alexander, the great. He had all the doctors come to his bedside and he had them carry his coffin, proving that doesn't matter what you accomplish throughout life, you don't make it out alive. And all the gold he gave to all the people, they had him dump it out on the side of the path as they were carrying him through the city or the town, showing us we're all going to die, right? But accountability shows us with Alexander right there is he was chasing the wrong things most of the time. And he showed people like, hey, you could have all the victories, you could have all the money, the houses, but look, it's not everything. And I think it took him to be on his deathbed to realize nobody can get out of here alive, right? No matter how wonderful
what's so wild though, dude, is Alexander or any of us would not realize that that's the actual truth until we have climbed that peak and realized, oh, all of these things don't make me happy.
Dude, I love that you just said that. Will Smith just talked about that not too long ago. Yeah. He said the darkest place, and we'll talk about it, is rock bottom.
Oh, 100%.
Now, I do believe everybody has a rock bottom.
Oh, 100%.
Right? Or they're living in what you called that state of mind. Exactly. On the truth, because I was going to say the state of mind where you talked about where you're just going through life. Yeah. Right? And I love that you said that because I think people are really just,
I just want to make it out of here alive.
Yeah.
You're not going to.
Yeah. Like, dude, I'm just going to make it through the week. Like, and then drink all weekend. You know what I mean? It's like blows my mind, dude. Like you guys have the ability when you're doing your self-evaluation and taking accountability. And this is in the book also, a book, his name escapes me, where he talks about how your body's what am I thinking? An industrial place, a mill, a factory.
Okay. Yeah.
Your body's a factory. Everything that you put into your body, it helps your factory, right? So if you're putting sugar, which is terrible for you,
it's not good,
and we're all guilty of it. I love sugar. I'll be the first one to say accountability. I'll be the first. You're going to see me eat a candy bar, right? Yeah. But I really try to cut down, especially when I read even a Coke. I used to drink a lot of Coke. A little cans, 5 mile run. When I read that stuff, I was like, what? But I had to take accountability and say, all right, I'm on the stage speaking health, mental fitness. So if somebody catches you with a Coke, you got to take accountability and say, hey, I don't always live this way. You know what I mean? But it's tough because, there's a lot of people out there preaching and not walking, right?
Most of them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's silly, dude.
And let's talk about, on that concept, your brain. Yeah. When you're not taking accountability, like you said, like, a lot of people are, and they're not taking accountability. They're continuously putting this stuff in their head, right? Because now it's a computer, factory, a computer. Yeah. So I always do this. I'm going to put myself on blast right here. When I go to schools or corporations and I tell people like, where are you guys going in life? And I say, could I see your phone? And if I go to the home screen, you can look at all my stuff. It's fitness, motocross, car wraps, animal. Nothing is women, porn, or anything that would take me off the path, right? Right there you see some man boob, but it's a guy, I guess he lost all this weight,
it's
right?
Success.
Yeah, it's success. Dude, because every time I get on here, like, even if you look at my AI, it's send me a Jesus story. Like, accountability here because I have time, so I just shot myself in I shouldn't say that either, accountability. I have time. We all have time to get with God. But if there's times I think I'm too busy, I go to AI, ChatGPT, and say, tell me about Jesus. I want to know a story about Jesus, because for me, I took accountability where I was speaking at a college and this girl came up to me and started asking me Bible stories. Because while I was on the stage, I talked about running towards what scares you, like David ran towards Goliath after 40 plus days. Nobody dared fight Goliath, but David showed us what courage was. I told that story, so she started quizzing me on Bible.
Like, here we go.
And I'm like, all right, the accountability says I need to, if I'm going to speak about certain things, I should learn about more things.
Right.
Back to this. Whatever goes into your mind, you become. This is the dark right here. Nobody sees what Ryan's looking at when he's at home alone.
Right.
But that's what's putting into your brain in the dark, right? And then whatever you're thinking about, whatever you're speaking about, you become. That's what's crazy, dude, because branding is so, dude.
Yeah.
We'll get into this. Okay. But we'll get into when I wanted to be a speaker. Tell me that story, because where I went there, how I built it, like crazy, but accountability, you can't move on without accountability. Accountability, it gives you structure to move forward. That's, you built your foundation on trust. Now accountability is, okay, let's reshape our walls.
Okay. I agree. So recapping real quick. We got self-evaluation.
Self-evaluation. Number one, before you can do anything, you have to have self-evaluation.
We look at ourselves naked in the mirror and we're like, oh, dude, I need a trainer.
I need a trainer.
I need someone to hold me to the fire and say, hey, buddy, you can have that Coke, but just consider this. Or you could have something to fill you up a little better. Same amount of calories, better for the factory.
Yep.
Accountability. Okay. What's step 3?
Step 3 is belief. Okay. After you take accountability, this is where most people say, like, okay, yeah, I could change, I could do it. And then for the first 24 hours, let's go. And then their belief fades. Well, people are going to laugh at me. People are going to make fun of me. Maybe I can't do it. Oh man, this is so hard. Right? There's another saying that says, if you can't believe in yourself, nobody else is going to believe in you. You know what I mean? And so as soon as I realized, and I'm not going to say the word, but in my mind, I say, you need to learn how to tell people F you.
Okay.
Like as soon as you realize, F you, your opinion means nothing to me. You don't tuck me in at night. You don't kiss me. You don't sign my paycheck. If you're not building me up and believing in me, the relationship ended.
Yeah.
Because the true value of a relationship comes when there is a constant exchange of value.
Yeah.
As soon as that value ends, it's one-sided.
Yeah.
The men that are in your group, there's a constant exchange. What did you guys do this week? Man, I did this. Okay, how could we overcome? Yeah. They come, they fill each other up. It's a constant exchange of value. And then they go along their ways. And if one gets his butt kicked, he comes back to the group and the group pours into him.
100%.
But what about if somebody comes and they're always mad?
Yeah.
Angry. They don't like what other people are talking about. They don't care about people's opinions.
Yeah.
They're gone, dude, because the constant exchange of value is not there. Also, when you're leveling up, when you start to believe in yourself, other people around you, especially in the coal mine, especially at the chemical plant, Ryan Stream thinks he's going to be a rapper. Now their kids listen to my music. And I say that truthfully because I've had their spouses, send me videos on social media like, hey, Ryan, look who's listening to your music. And their little boys jumping bed to bed. Yeah. I want to be. Yeah. I was like, look at this guy made fun of me and his kids. He's in there listening to my music, jumping bed to bed.
I love it, dude.
So with belief comes, you get the last laugh. And there's a story that I mean by that. His name is Kevin, and he taught me belief. I was in Afghanistan. We got our butts kicked, man. Day 1, ambushed, no ammo yet. 2 months in country, my leader was blown up, brain bleeding, sent home. I mean, it was crazy. And I just turned 21, dude.
Dude, wow.
And this guy, we were getting trained on a system that would help you find the Taliban. And he really liked me. We found common ground. He had a story like mine, drugs, jail, adopted. Yeah. And he said, Ryan, man, I want to talk to you, dude. He's like, I want to tell you a story. He's like, there's going to be a lot of people that laugh at you when you start to believe in yourself, but I want you to know this story. And I said, all right, Kevin. He was a darker man. Hey, what's up, dog? He had one of those, oh, shit, I'll tell you. Yeah, he said, when I was in the military, dude, I just got in the military, and my wife, he was married at the time, she would always hound him. You're not doing enough. We need more money. The bills are high. You're the man of the house. This is what you're supposed to be doing. Yeah. And so he went and got a job flipping burgers at Burger King. So they only had one car. So the wife would use the car for the kids. Yeah. And she was the stay-at-home mother for the kids. And so he would wake up at 4 a.m., ride his bike to the base or to wherever they would fall in. And then he would ride his bike to Burger King. Okay. Work at Burger King all night long. close Burger King.
Yeah.
Go in. He said, I never saw my kids, Ryan. He said, I'd always go in and give them a kiss.
Yeah.
Because dad wasn't doing his job. He said, I finally got a promotion and my family and we moved to Texas. And it was so hot. And because my promotion, I made a couple extra $100 a month. So I went and bought me a piece of crap truck.
Yeah.
Ryan, the AC didn't even work in this. So I taped, back in the day, those little battery fans. Remember those? We put them close to our face. They barely work. He's like, I taped that to where I could put my face right here at a stoplight, and in Texas, it's hot.
Yeah.
And he said there was a carload of privates. These are kids that barely get in the military, and they had a nice Mustang convertible. Mm-hmm. And the kids pull up to the light, and they look at Kevin, and they start laughing at him. Mm-hmm. And he said, Ryan, I was working again. He went and got a fast food job after training. He's like, I was working every day, 7 days a week, minimum sleep, and these little kids are laughing at me. He said, I'm going to get the last laugh.
Yeah.
He's like, so even though I started working on me being positive, my wife left me and she took everything.
Yeah.
He said, but now fast forwarding 15 years, he's retired from the military, owns houses all over the world, purchased one of the Detroit Piston players' house in Detroit.
I love it.
And he's a contractor in the military, making multiple hundreds of figures, tax-free a year.
I love it.
And he said, I went to my daughter's graduation. Yeah. I got out of the car. He had his new wife with diamonds all over her fingers, BMW with 24s, he said.
Yeah.
And his ex-wife stood there. And she started to cry when she saw me, Ryan.
Yeah.
He's like, but it wasn't hate. I didn't hate her for it.
Yeah.
I appreciated her for it because she pushed me and she made me believe in myself. Because sometimes, Ryan, when people don't believe in you, that is the medicine. That is the missing ingredients that you need to help you push forward.
I love that, dude.
And then his ex-wife did something dirty to him. She ordered, 50 or 100 pizzas. It was an outrageous number to his house. He said, Ryan, I took that. I got the last mile and I delivered pizza to every person on my block. So he taught me, man, even the ones closest to you, sadly, they're going to laugh at you. They're going to make fun of you. Sometimes they're going to think that you're not doing enough. But you always have to get the last laugh. That means like, not ha, 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 because there's people I literally can do that to now. Mm-hmm. You know, dude, anyways, some speeches I make more than I would have taken home in 4 months at the job that fired me, just for one speech. And instead of me laughing, it's, dude, hey, read my book, man. How could I get you out of that situation? Right now, you're not happy. Yeah. Bro, step 1, self-evaluation. Okay. Step 2, accountability. Step 3, bro, before you could even do anything, that's what's crazy, bro. Yeah. Before you could even walk as a child, the number one thing, most babies fall down 17 times an hour when they're learning how to walk. Whether they think it or not, they're believing because they're seeing other people do it, that they can do it.
Right.
And we're taught that at this age.
Yeah.
But it's the world that puts their finger in your face that says you can't do it. So, dude, number 3 is belief, bro. And with what you've built, the house you have, the dazzling wife, the kid, it all started with belief, bro.
It 100% did, dude. And some of that belief was fostered by people just for fun. I feel like I keep needing to bring it up, but we have common ground. Back to the beginning of the conversation, like the family that you adopted you, dude, they how do I say this word? They instilled, or how do you say past tense of breathed? I don't even have
revived.
To say. Well,
they revived you, maybe?
No, like they put so much belief into me, dude.
Love it.
So much belief into
wind in
me.
your cell, bro.
There we go. They put so much wind into my cell as such a little kid that I was just like, I felt invincible. I don't remember if they had them when you were there, but there were these big wheels. That had a big wheel in the front and 2 little wheels in the back.
Yeah.
And the driveway, as you know, goes down up the hill. Dude, I felt unstoppable flying down that driveway.
Isn't it funny you grow up, it's like this big, but you're like, as a kid.
It was a monster driveway, dude. But yeah, if I go home and I drive past their house, I'm like, so that driveway was the driveway of momentum. Yeah. You can't even move on that,
dude. Isn't that awesome?
And it just, so much belief in me until eventually I could believe in myself.
Yeah.
Because you're right. Because then you'll get to the point when you get older that there are people who will then point their finger at you and do not believe in you. And sometimes that is all right. Yeah. Cool. I'll show you.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, and I'll be honest. People ask what motivates you. It's hate.
Really?
Isn't that crazy?
No,
that's what it is. It's hate. People that have hated me pushed me down, said that I couldn't do it. I mean, I'm 5'3.5" without shoes, dude. So I heard it all. And you think you could sing. So my biggest motivator is hate.
Really?
Yep. And now
it's
still hate. Hate is number one. No, hate. You hate on me, I'm going to show you.
Okay.
You say I can't do something, I'm going to shove it in your face.
Okay.
And that's wrong.
Okay.
Accountability, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Now, hate, we could say it is an emotion, and emotions could be used for good, right?
Yeah.
And I think hate, right? If somebody comes in and does something to your family, it would be hate that would maybe inspire the charge to move forward, or the divorce, or whatever it is that somebody's going through. But now I think one of the biggest motivators that I have, hate's still number one. I'm not going to say it's not, because when people say I'm stupid, I'm like, all right, at my last job, now I went and got a psychology degree. Now I'm going to master's school, and then maybe I'll be a doctor. Just to, and every time I want to quit, I think of the people that said, you're a dumbass.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, I'm not a dumbass. I'm going to show through the example that no matter what people say about you, you could overcome it. It starts with belief.
Right.
Right?
Right.
It's always belief. So again, when you were going down my driveway, and man, you just believed you were badder than bad.
You can't stop me, dude.
No way, dude.
Yeah.
Whenever somebody says, well, I don't know what I believe in, I say, go back to your 7-year-old self. What would you want to be?
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Well, I want, and most of the time people go back to, whether they want to build a business or not, they always go back to a job that serves other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, man, I want to serve. I want to help, right? And I think that's really embedded into our nature as humans.
Right.
That you want to help, serve, and save. And that's the best top tier for leadership.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyways, believe in yourself. And remember that your goals and your dreams are not your mom's. They're not your dad's. They
got to be yours.
They're not your teachers. They're yours.
They got to be yours.
They're got to be yours.
Dude, the wild thing is I understand the hate thing. I can't, mine has never been hate. Mine has always been anger. Just flat outrage of like, it has been, and the funny thing is for the longest time, I wouldn't admit that I was angry.
Yeah.
I wouldn't admit that like I was mad about anything. I would just be like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Like that was like I'm good. I got this. I'm good.
Yeah.
But as I really self-evaluated and I started to hold myself accountable, it seems like at the bottom of every pit, when I would actually hit the foundation of truth, it was, dude, I'm pissed and I'm going to prove you wrong. Yeah. You've now pushed me to the point that I'm angry and I'm coming in hot. And if you are in the way, sorry. Which there's still traces of that for sure, where it's like, okay, watch me. Yeah. So dude, emotion is what creates motion. So I 100%, I understand, dude. Zero judgment. I appreciate the honesty. Yeah.
No, and on the other side of that, being a hero, right? Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to be a hero. And now I'm to the point, dude, I was in New Jersey and I was singing from the stage, rapping my songs, and there was kids singing my music. I was in Seattle, bro, and kids were singing my music. Yeah. So it's not them singing my music. It's me knowing the power of words, not just because it's my music. I read books, put what I read in the books. Yeah. Because most people don't read books. They listen to podcasts. That's the new trend, right? Over the past 5 years or whatever. Right. But kids weren't reading. I wasn't reading. I hated reading. But as soon as I picked up, I think it was 54 books in 2017 after I was going to take my life, 54 books I read that year. Yeah. Well, over one, and my whole the year, my whole paradigm switched. Yeah. So rather than uploading, man, you're an idiot, man, you're dumb, man, you need to change. Cut the people off. Again, if there's not the exchange of value there, cut them off. If you're not climbing that mountain with me, have a good day. Yeah. I want people that are climbing to the top of that mountain, right? Because I want those views. Not only do I want the views, like I didn't mean the views as social media. I mean, I want the view from the top of the mountain. I want to show God, hey, you gave me the ability to live. Let me show you what I can do with my life. But when I'm on top of the hill, rather than getting the last laugh, I might giggle, but I'm going to help the people come up. Yeah. Those are the people that I want to surround myself with. Yeah. I don't want to surround myself with the people that just go through life. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, why would you want to just be a robot? That's what the government wants you. If you really wanted to get into that topic...
It's a whole rabble.
It's a whole rabble, man. But don't live, dude. People, they just need to realize, like, we're all going to die. I'm just going to give it my all.
100%.
You know what I mean? And if you have faith, like Jesus says, like, hey, do what you're supposed to do. I'll take care of you. But remember, whenever you play that game, who got hung on the cross? Because there's people that say, oh, why me? Why not you?
Yeah.
Like, you want to talk about my life? I have a bad life. You want to talk about your life? I don't even know that gentleman right there. He's probably got a bad life too, because we all have experiences. Yeah. Nobody gets to sell through life. Nobody gets that. So when they say, man, my life is so hard. Oh, there was a person. We talked about Jesus, man. It was amazing because, you know, you have to be really careful, especially in the school districts. But her family dropped her off, drove away with the rest of her family, left her at a homeless shelter. Jeez. She's about 17 years old, less than 17. She's probably about 15 when it happened. She was about 17 years old when she talked to me. And it was an opportunity for me to speak Christ with her.
Yeah.
You know, I says, you know, sometimes life happens. I said, it's going to happen. Yeah. You know, but that's what resiliency is when it happens, what do you do?
Right.
Right. And I say, do you know who Jesus Christ is? She's like, yeah. And I was like, you know, he did everything he could to teach us how to love, serve, and give. And I'm bringing up Jesus Christ not because of my religion. I'm bringing it up because of leadership. The number one Googled person of all time is Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
The number one read book of all time is the Bible. It's not just because, oh, I want to give you guys a Christian message. That's not it. I like speaking facts and what people are looking at, listening to, and learning from. And it was Jesus Christ. He taught us how to love, serve, give, and they hung him.
Yeah.
Right. And if you believe in God, I do. If you believe in God, then you realized, well, what happened there? You know what I mean? So the point I'm trying to make is you're all going to suffer. What are you going to do with your suffering? I always tell people, show God how strong you can be. I have another saying, pack it on, Lord, let me show you. And dude, this semi, I thought I was paralyzed. When that hit, dude, I thought I was paralyzed. The first thing I said was, please, God, no, I can't be paralyzed. No, please, no. Then my body started moving and being ambushed in Afghanistan, dude, literally bullets flying all around us, RPGs. And I'm, please, God, don't let me die. Don't let me die. But I've realized, like, when your time comes, it's going to come.
Yeah.
And sad, sometimes people have to go through cancer. That's maybe, I don't know, this is me, and this is how I help me get through things, is, you know, maybe up in heaven, again, this is my perspective. I said, hey, God, I want to get crushed in a semi. I want to go through that trial. Hey, adopted, hey, I'll do that one too. That's just how I choose to view certain things. There was a sign-up list, and I chose to sign up. So, and that's just personal view. It helps me get through things and be resilient. Like, all right, I'm going to have nerve damage the rest of my life. Sure. I'm still walking. There's people out there that have it a lot worse. So in order to get through anything, you have to believe.
I agree with you 1,000%. Yeah. So I do have, this is something, and again, so we're talking me theologies, right? Something to kick around that I, like when you said a couple things from what you just said, 54 books in a year, that's a little bit more than one a week. Having been to war, having seen violence, having seen all of that, it changes a man. But we read in another good book, right? We'll call it the Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
That the word has a more powerful effect than the sword.
Buddy.
That the word has a more powerful effect than the sword. And if over here on this wall, this is just a fraction of the books, because there was a time when we were moving, my wife's like, dude, get rid of your freaking books.
You're like, oh.
I'm like, I can't.
This is like, my gold, dude.
Yeah. Okay. And so, and which is fine now because there's, everything's digital and it's great. But like the word truth, regardless of the source that it comes from, because I agree with you, it's not a religious conversation. It is a spiritual conversation. It is truth that feeds our soul and gives us the ability to go to that next step.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, my own little thought process that I've been dabbling through, and I'm curious your feedback on it. Like, we do see a ton of suffrage, and we do see a ton of pain, and there are a lot of trials that everybody goes through. But isn't the promise of Jesus Christ that, dude, if you'll just accept me and you'll just repent, you don't have to suffer. Yeah. I already did it.
Yep.
Like, my yoke is easy. My burden is light. Right out of the Bible. Those are his words. He's like, if you'll just get in the yoke with me, all this crap you're going through is not that hard.
Yeah.
Like, because I've already done it. Because a lot of that mindset has gotten me super far in the grit and the anger. But as soon as I was like, oh, I don't have to carry this anger anymore. Like, the Savior has already paid for this as well. Life has gotten a lot easier and it's gotten a lot more fun. Like, I want to take him on his word of, well, if the yoke is easy and the burden is light, can I have some of that instead of like, like I'll still climb the hill,
Yep.
but like I want it to be easier.
Yeah.
And I'm finding what we talk about, what we think about is what we become.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm finding the more that I put out there of like, oh dude, it's hard not to be easy.
Yeah.
We're just winning, dude.
Yep.
The wins come in quicker.
And think about how you win.
Yeah.
By losing.
100%, dude. There is no failure.
Yeah.
It's simply feedback of like, I came in hot.
Ooh, I love that.
I came in hot and that's stung.
Failure's feedback,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah. That's all it is. It's
Yeah.
simply feedback.
And on that subject, think about if everything was easy.
Right.
Like everyone would have beautiful things and great, you know, hey,
Yeah.
let's all have beautiful things. But
Yeah.
it's like, you know, if everybody could eat whatever they want and have a 6-pack, and I'm competitive. So let's talk on a competitive, right? When you go to the gym, it's like, I'm competitive with myself first
Right.
and then other people.
Right.
And there's people that are just, I don't know the type of personality type, I don't know, but you're just more competitive nature. My wife's not competitive. I'm competitive.
Your wife's jacked.
Yeah, my wife is, she is, but you want to know what? With that being said, she's not competitive with other people. She's competitive with herself.
She holds herself to a
standard. And her standard is, and I love that my wife said this, is you're my husband and I want to look the best for you that I can. And I'm like,
I received that.
jeez, dude. Isn't that dope?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I can do that. You know, you mentioned 2 things, belief with yourself and belief in God.
Right.
Believing in 2 things. Imagine if you didn't have that belief.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Dude,
That's tough.
when you stepped out for a second, Dakota and I were chatting about that belief is what has made the hard get through.
Yeah.
Like all of my mom dying of an overdose, my dad beating my mom to a pulp, like all of the chaos, it has been the belief that, okay, it doesn't have to be this way.
Yeah.
And men are that they might have joy.
Yeah.
So if I'm not having joy, I'm not in full alignment with the truth.
Yeah.
And so if I need to get in full alignment with the truth, the only thing that I am convinced of that the truth exists in is in the Word of God. So if I'm aligned with that, then it does become easy.
Yeah.
The only time it ever becomes hard and I'm suffering is when I'm like, I'm going to do it my way.
Yeah.
Well, my way is a kick in the nuts.
Yeah.
Like most of the time.
Yeah. Or dwelling.
I
I think dwelling's a big thing that keeps people from self-belief.
Okay.
Well, you know, that hurt before. Oh, it didn't work out before. So I'm not going to do it. Right. You know, so I think believing wholeheartedly what you just talked about, like the Word, that's what we believe in. And that's the common ground that me and my wife believe in. So it's like, okay, nothing else matters besides that because that's our belief.
Right.
Do other things matter? Sure. But if that's my standard, my standards aren't going to go this way because somebody else says, hey, dude, you know, that's, and other people, they play the, oh yeah, well, you know, and then they do things against their standard, right? Like eat cupcakes and ice cream every night, which I love. I'm not going to do it. I love
once in a while.
Yeah. But that takes us into number 4, plan.
Okay.
Right? Because if you don't believe in something, where's your plan?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Isn't that crazy? Like a lot of times when I tell people like, okay, what is it that you want to do?
It's like the suicide thing you were saying. How?
Yeah.
How are you going to do it? Do you really have a plan?
Yep.
Okay.
Amen.
Go
exactly. On. And again, back to the ship. If you don't have a plan, you're like a ship going out into the, okay, think about this, dude. If you're like, hey, you got to go down to Payson and your youngest just graduated kindergarten.
Yeah.
It's like they got no plan, dude. How's that little kid going to go? And he's a kid. He's a child.
Yeah.
Same as adults. Yeah, we're adults. We have a little more experience, but the Bible, it never says us adults. I'm pretty positive it speaks many times that we're all children.
Correct.
Going through life. We don't know it all. Now, this seems big for a child, but for us, it's like, Payson's just down there, right? But what about the world or building a business? That's huge to us, right?
Yeah.
But to God, it's small. But my point is the ship going out into the water, not having a plan, you're lost, right? You're lost.
Right.
And so a lot of times when people say they want to do something, I say, okay, yeah, sweet, dude. How are you going to do it? Yeah. Well, you know, I was going to do it this way. And then I'm just like, hey, brother, I was right where you're at. Okay. Mm-hmm. When I was young, I wanted to be in the NBA, right? I did a self-evaluation, right? My parents would make me go to the library. Yeah. You know, I took accountability of being short, but I believed in myself. So I would ride my bike to the library and I would check out books on Muggsy Bogues, right? Yeah. Spud Webb. And I learned about these people. They were booed the first time they stepped on the basketball court because they were so small, but they got a standing ovation at the end of the game. I would go and shoot 200 shots every day. It was a chore. Every single day, 200 shots. That was my plan. My plan was 200 shots. Read and study athletes, right? If you want to be an athlete, learn for an athlete. If you want to be like in the book, a bread maker, you go to the
Yeah.
The bread maker, right? Yeah. So I studied and I learned from athletes, went outside and shot 200 shots. That was my plan. Sometimes plans don't go. So when these kids say, yeah, I got a plan, I'm like, okay, well, you want to get to the NFL. How many times a day are you eating? Well, I just eat when I'm, okay, how many times are you working out? There was this guy, Brunson, in Delta, Utah. He wanted his kid to be a track champion. And he's like, Ryan, he had a plan. He's like, I would take him to the hills of sand. I would make him run up the sand hills. They trained, literally, boom, boom. He was a state champion. Yeah. You have to have a plan. Plan, it's not the nutrients, but the ingredients. And that's what people don't realize, bro. Success, and not that I'm the most successful ever, but I'm to the point in my life, my wife doesn't have to work. Like, if I want to go to the gym twice a day, I can go to the gym twice a day, right? People don't realize, okay, if I wanted to build a trucking company, I didn't even have my CDL yet. Didn't even have a CDL. And I started closing contracts. Hey, what's up? My name is Ryan Stream with Patriot Ridge Trucking. Didn't even have a business yet. I was just fishing, seeing what bait works. Yeah. And I started just driving down the road, calling businesses. Hey, okay, they could use me. X amount of dollars per hour. So what did I do? I bought a truck, but I don't know anything about that. So I made a plan. Okay, if I buy somebody's truck that's selling a truck, they knew how to get into the business. Yeah. So this guy named Carlos Gomez, I said, dude, I'll buy your truck if you help me get all of the paperwork that I need to make my business legal. Yeah. He said, okay. Bought his truck, made my business legal, got a job with him, started making money. I got him in the military. My friends, if you want success, go to the cook that has the ingredients. Right. And that's what's crazy. And that's your plan. Well, I don't know my plan. Go ask somebody with the plan. Sometimes you got to pay for the plan. Yeah. I wanted to be a motivational speaker and a musician. You think that just happened? I want to be a rapper and a country singer. He who has the best voice doesn't win. That's true. He who has, you know what I mean? Like, my friends, that's the biggest lie, right? There's kids making hundreds of thousands of dollars doing, right? How did they do it? They figured out the right ingredients. Yeah. So I started mimicking what they were doing. Literally, hey, what's up, guys? My name is Ryan Stream. And I started playing the piano and getting 100 views, 1,000 views. And then my one song that went viral, the first time I got 1,000 views, I daydreamed of Hollywood and all of the interviews, right? It went viral. Boom. Yeah. But just because you catch a fish, does it feed you for life? No. That's what people need to realize about success. It's not a one-time thing. You have to constantly plan, be strategic, and figure out how to go get the next one. I like it. You see, isn't that just crazy? And people think success is happiness. Success and happiness, sure, you might be happy when you get success. Success is getting a show. I was going to say climbing to the top of that mountain. After you climb to the top of that mountain, remember, the lowest places on earth is the darkest place. What did we call that earlier? Your pit, or other people would know it as rock bottom. Rock bottom. And the other place is being at the hilltop. And we were going to talk about the darker actor. He talked about being at the top, getting everything you want. He's like, it's a dark place because you already have everything, right? And I think the whole point is he's missing. In his plan, he needs to help other people succeed. He needs to help other people get what they want. That's where happiness is. Yeah. But again, a lot of times people don't have a plan, so they run around. They're like a bee going around the hive. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And the other bees are like, well, dude, just follow the plan. But they don't know the plan. Yeah. You got to ask. And that's the most childish way, because there was a person that was making fun of me that said that to me. He's like, dude, you're like the bee going around the hive. What do I do? What do I do? And I was so pissed when I heard it. Yeah. But he was real. Yeah. And half the time we just go. We just go to the gym, we run, and we do that. And it's like, dude, you have no plan. Yeah. And the people that are freaking shredded, bro, I know when I go home, I'm going to eat a meal that's 420 calories. Yeah. I know per day what I'm eating, so I can drop 1 to 3 pounds per week. Right. So I can go to the pool and take my shirt off and look good. Right. That's a plan. Right. You see, a lot of people get pissed because they can't follow plans. Accountability. See how everything just... Plan, dude. I mean, how did you build this, bro? I mean, everything you did. Okay, my plan was I need to go buy lights. Okay, I need to get cameras. Okay, and then I need a cameraman. You see, what I literally did when I started my trucking business, I drew a staircase, because that's how I learn. I have to see it. End of the staircase, truck making money. Okay, and then you just follow the steps. Yeah. And if the ingredients to make the cookies are the same, but people add their different flavors, That's it, dude. That's it.
That's it, man.
And it's
That's
not,
Yeah.
you know, and look, there's AI and all this stuff coming out, and I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, bro, and nothing was given to me. I went and put a HELOC loan against my house to go show up to an event just so I can learn.
Yeah.
I maxed out my credit cards just so I can learn.
That is a common theme. I have done the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Belief.
Yeah.
I believe in myself. It's sink or swim.
Yeah.
And you got your kids and your wife looking at you like, what are you doing? And you're like, just believe in me. What? You know, and when people doubt you, it sucks. And then sometimes you even get into the spot where you doubt yourself.
Yeah.
We're all human. Sometimes it hurts when you get hit, you know, and sometimes you get knocked down.
Hurts.
Yeah, it always hurts, dude.
Yeah.
And I think that's why resiliency and mental health is such a just amazing topic, because you think about in my life and your life, we've seen the internet come.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen the cell phones come. We get like, we're in like that last little era where it was like change. Now AI, I mean, you could literally ask AI any question. Hey, how do I overcome this? How do I overcome that? Well, what's going to happen to the therapists in the future? What's going to happen? Yeah, let's get serious. My friends, look, there's 3 cameras set up and 2 microphones. Back in the day, you had people holding cameras.
Yeah.
You got to change with the times. And how do you do that? You have to plan.
Right.
Okay, what's happening now? What's going to happen? What should happen?
Right.
AR. And it all starts with self-evaluation. How am I preparing for the future?
Yeah.
And if you don't know, ask AI. It will help you.
It's
no excuses.
You're spot on, man. Yeah. You got to start on the foundation of truth. Where are we at? Just using the analogy of going down to Payson. Okay, cool. Well, if you're going to go to Payson, how are you going to get to Payson if you don't even know where you're starting from?
Exactly. Or if you don't even know where Payson, it's like, okay, you need to go east. Well, where's east?
Yeah.
I mean,
and if you went east, you'd have to go that way. You go the wrong way, bro. You got to go west.
That's what I'm still. I'm military, and I still get mixed up. I'm the guy that always has to look at my phone. Directions and words are difficult for me. But you see what I'm saying? If you're not looking where you're going, this is a plan for a lot of people. It's like, okay, here's the map. Turn left in 800 feet, right?
Yeah.
If you'd have said, hey, Ryan, come up here, dude. My address is this. My era, we didn't even read street signs. We come from a town where it's a mile this way and a mile this way. 1,900 people in our town.
Yeah.
We didn't have all that. We didn't learn that. I didn't learn it. It was like, hey, go to Dave's house. All right, I'm by Dave's house. You know what I mean? So, yeah, dude. So planning. Got to plan.
Yeah, it's a real thing. Okay. So self-evaluation.
Accountability.
Well, there was something before.
Self-evaluation, accountability, belief.
Okay.
Making a plan. And this is my favorite. Actually, in my other book, my 5 steps are the favorite, but taking action, bro.
I like it.
Taking action, dude.
Okay.
And a lot of times people, they have the plan, they have everything. Okay, I created a course on what I'm talking about. I spent thousands of dollars of recording it like this. Mm-hmm. I never put it out.
Really?
Yep. I still have it at my house. Now that we're talking about it, I just haven't put it out. Now I'm like, oh shit, I need to put it out.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I spent all that time, and you know what it was? What about if nobody listens to it?
And
this is coming from somebody that I'm already everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you were in any of the stores, my family was on the front paper this month.
Yeah.
Not saying, ooh, look at me, but I'm just saying because I
That's true.
Thanks, man. I dropped 2 books this week. You know what I mean? I did my steps. Take your self-evaluation, accountability, belief, make a plan, take action. And I've been taking action, but I haven't taken action on that.
So what are you going to do?
Man.
It's getting recorded.
Yeah. No, I guess I can put it out, but it's not that I don't believe in myself anymore. I don't know. I guess that's not really, if I put it out, who am I going to put it out to? My plan's not to start a group or, I got YouTube videos that teach people, but it's, 3 or 4 hours long. So where am I going to upload that to? Yeah. So I thought about, well, I could use that when I go speak to schools, especially, and I could say, hey, we'll do this budget. I'll bring a book for 200 students or 50 students that are in the leadership training course, and I'll give you guys this video.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because my goal at the time, my goal at the time was to build a group, which would be wonderful. But dude, I got a trucking company I'm gonna rebuild now that I'm down. So okay, this is my plan. Okay. I'm working on stuff that I don't need to say that we set off topic. A couple of things I'm doing, and then it's to get my trucking company up to 5 trucks, and that's $1 million.
Okay.
And then I let somebody else run it, and I go speak full time.
I like it.
But that's just it. Right now, I'm to the point where it's like, do I even need a trucking company? But to level up in life, I need that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Okay. As a speaker, you're constantly pushing, calling, messaging. It never ends. Success is just the next show.
Yeah.
Success is saying I do to my wife, and then what?
Yeah.
You know, showing up for my kids. You know, I heard something. It's like, you know, to wrap all the 5 steps up, right? We're taking action. Make sure you're taking action in the right directions, right? Like we said, sometimes we build these empires, and that's what I'm saying right now. You know, guys, I have Lambos, helicopters, all that in my videos. Everybody thinks I own them. I don't. Yeah. I just learned a long time ago when, I won't say his name. Everybody knows this guy. He rented a vehicle, put it in his videos, and he started to really get a name. And I went to the same place he rented the car, and they're like, yeah, he was here doing donuts in the cars and stuff. And so in the video, if you know what I'm talking about, he was doing donuts in the Bentley or whatever it was. So I just started putting these and I started getting a lot of attention. But what I realized is people were putting me on this pedestal, like, oh, well, that's you, that's what you have. So I started coming out and saying, whoa, you have to be very careful with social media, my friends. Like I am in the coal mines and I speak and do music. Yeah. I'm your blue collared guy. Yeah. And I was always I don't know if I should say that, but you know how many people that resonated with? Yeah. Dude, I'm a working man and I'm trying to build my dreams. I love what you do. Yeah. Comes back to just being honest. And everybody's like, well, who do I help? Who do I help? Help yourself. That's your avatar. Yeah. You know, everybody's like, you need to find the avatar to sell to. I hate sales, to be honest with you. I hate taking people's money. I do, dude. I have so many people offer me really jobs and I'm like, I want to sell people hope. Yeah. I don't want them to have to pay for it. But unfortunately,
it's not the world we live in.
It's not how it works. And you want to know what? You're going to pay for my knowledge. But but anyways, with that being said, I got 2 of my books at 99 cents. Every time I drop a book, it's like, hey, they're next to free. I have to 99 cents. But before we get off topic, that book's about choice, clarity, consistency, connections, and courage. Okay. When I was at an event, I heard a lady speak on those topics along with others. And I'm like, oh my gosh. How I changed myself was conquering your Coliseum, the pit, right? Where they would go down and they would do their battles and stuff. Yeah. I called it the Coliseum because the mind is drama, action, fighting. And if you know the Coliseum, the history of it, even the people that were putting the slaves down there, the slaves started to get attention. So what did the rich people want? Attention. So they started to fight. Crazy. Really? Just a fun fact. Yeah. So they started to fight for, dude, check it out. It's crazy. When I heard that, I was like, well, everybody wants people cheering for them. Right. And the fastest way to get people to cheer for you is compliment them, like them first, and help them build their goals and dreams.
There you go.
You know, so I think that's pretty cool.
Dude. But so that's conquering the Coliseum. That's that.
Yep. Conquering your Coliseum. And the next one's lead like a legend. Okay. Right. Okay. So now I'm at the point in my life where I just wrote a children's book called Heroes on the Playground. I put 2 of my favorite teachers in the book, Miss Wilson and Mr. Bird. And my children.
Are they from Emory County?
Yeah, from Emory County.
Mr. Bird.
Mr. Bird was my choir teacher. Yep. He helped me record my first CD in the 8th grade. He failed me in Spanish class. So, there's no, he was just all about me. He wasn't, but he helped me. And then and then Jackie Wilson. So anyways, Jackie Wilson. Yeah. Really? Yeah. So on the news down there, I just had a picture of him holding a page from the book that I printed out, and I put it in a frame with the trophy, a teacher appreciation. And I got in front of the whole school and I gave it to him. And, a lot of times people need to realize you don't need to be perfect to make a difference.
You do not, dude. And that holds so many people back. They don't want to take action because the plan is not perfect.
The plan is not. Dude, isn't that crazy? Yeah. Who has a perfect plan?
Nobody.
When you were a kid, once again, you fell down. Yeah. You fell down 17 times per hour learning how to walk. Yeah. So I've just adopted, okay, I'm going to fall down 17 times. Yeah. Dude, you think of anything, building a house, you're going to do it wrong the first time. But when you do it wrong, you get a C. So when somebody else does it wrong, you get to walk them through it.
It's just feedback, dude. No failure.
I love feedback. That. Yeah. No failure feedback. I'm going to get that tattooed on me. No. But the new book is Lead Like a Legend, right? Because I've realized, in a sense, I've been able to lead myself pretty good. Yeah. I've been able to retire from the military. I've been able to win the Verizon Wireless Service Award for the United States of America. I've been able to be in Forbes magazine, on the TEDx stage. Yeah. Yeah, man, honestly, bro, the only thing I never did was go to the special forces. Yeah. And I was a drug addict. And I'll have to send you a picture when I was 18. I was shredded, bro. I wanted it because I felt like it was hate. I got adopted. People laughed at me. I didn't make the basketball team, and I wanted to be in the NBA. And so I thought, I'm going to go to the special forces and I'm going to show everybody. I was the fastest kid in my battalion. I got promoted on the spot. Yeah. Sergeant Griffith, he was my guy. He was going to send me to Ranger school. He was like, you need to get to Ranger school. And then I got addicted to drugs.
Shoot.
Started hanging around. But anyways, accountability
but it
says
helps.
I didn't do it.
Yeah.
I didn't do it, dude. So
Yeah.
there's the difference between people that do it and don't do it. It doesn't matter how good you are, who your parents are, where you're at in life. You do it or you don't.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. People take action or they don't. When people say, dude, I was going to go to the military. I was going to be in the NBA, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they always laugh, but it's like,
what are the odds you're in this room or you've been on the 500 plus stages you've been in if you were a Ranger? Not very likely, bro.
Dude, I like how you put that into that perspective, because had I done that, I would have never been addicted to drugs. I would have went a different way.
Yeah.
So that just tells you life goes a certain way. Yes, you make it harder than it should be at times.
Yeah.
But I think in the end, there's a plan.
100%.
There's a freaking plan. And if you get off plan, there will be moments for you to get back on plan. I was in Sandy, Utah, assault on a police officer, underage drinking, driving without insurance. I had a ton of stuff. And I was in front of a judge and I said, Judge, I'm in the military. I'm a fool. And the only way for me to change my life is to change where I'm at. There's a unit. I'm 20 years old at this time. There's a unit going to Afghanistan. Do you think I could go? I'm $30,000 in debt, have all these charges. Mm-hmm. And he walked off the stage and I'm in cuffs, dude. Legs, hands, orange suit. Mm-hmm. And he hugged me.
Yeah.
He said, you can go.
Nice.
And, years later, I spoke at his judge conference. He wasn't there, but his staff was.
Yeah.
The point is, sometimes you're going to get off track, but there's going to be moments that people, hopefully you do this for other people, you get them on track. The only way to do that's action, bro. Just stepping into the arena. You do. Stepping into the pit. That's just it, dude. Why would you not want to know what you can do?
You do. Because you're sedated, dude. They're numb and just going through life. And then all of a sudden, somebody comes along on social media in our day now and says, hey, this is possible. Or in second grade, someone comes and gets on a stage and says, hey, this is possible.
Man, dude,
being willing to share that light that you have and the truth and the path that you've walked. It's powerful, man. It's super powerful.
I love that you said that, and I put it in my book, but I don't want to mess this up. There's only 5 ways people change, bro. Okay. And you just nailed one of it. Inspiration and vision, seeing what's possible through other people's story. Yeah. Sometimes it takes somebody that says, for instance, there's a guy I know, he fell out of a tree, he's paralyzed, and he was high speed, dude, my age. Mm-hmm. I can't relate with him on that level. Yeah. But a neighbor 2 doors down just had a stroke and now he's paralyzed.
Jeez.
So imagine the conversations those two. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can do it. And it's vision and inspiration. Yeah. Number 2 is pain and heartache. That's another way people change, in the pit, using struggles as fuel.
Dude, you can choose to go into the pit through self-evaluation.
Yep.
Or you can be thrown there by not willing to look at the truth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, dude, I love that. Wow. Gee, I love that. Okay, financial pressure or giving money. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. People's life change if, they win the lottery, their life just changed. Their habits didn't, but their life changed.
For a minute.
Or say, for example, I got crushed in my semi and the insurance didn't cover $50,000. So I just had to eat that. So it's like, okay, now I got to grind harder.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Love and relationships.
True.
They can build people or they can tear people down. That's why I tell people one of the most important choices, if not the most important choice of your life, is who you marry.
It is the most important.
I think so, dude, because
she put her hands on your shoulder and said, Ryan, I believe in you, dude.
When nobody else did, bro. Everybody else was like,
I believe in you.
See ya. Sent me home twice. Yeah. She's like, you got this. And on the book, Conquering Your Coliseum, was a bestseller, by the way. It says on the bottom, I believe in you. Right?
I like it.
And then number 5.
You got a song.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got a song.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I got like 20 songs.
That's one of those that make your...
Oh, dude. I got like 6 new songs that are coming out too. Yeah. So, and then the next one is Purpose and Faith.
Okay.
So let's recap on those. Number 1, inspiration and vision. Number 2, pain and heartache. Number 3, finances, whether it be pressure or receiving money, right? Love and relationships. Love's powerful. I like the song by Eminem where he's like, spell love backwards, it spells evil. I'm like, oh my God. Did you ever know that? Love, Love, evil.
So with an O instead of an I.
Isn't that crazy? Because think about it, bro. 49 to 51% of people get divorced, and it's so sad, but you could see, and I even know people that go through this and they tear each other apart.
Oh,
and then because they don't heal, who doesn't heal?
Kids,
bro. And then it's generations, bro.
Yeah.
Because that's generational trauma. Yeah. And then number 5 was purpose and faith. Isn't that cool? I just didn't want to mess that up, even though it's in the book. But
no, I love it. Dude, someone who goes as high speed as you do, because I get it. There'll be times that I'll write something down that I'm like, that's gold. And then 5 hours later, I'm like, what did I say?
Yeah, psychology, bro. That's not for me. That's psychology. That's,
but
most people
you're
forget.
going so high speed and you're going so fast. You got so many irons in the fire that it's like, I better make sure that I got my own notes right.
See, and that's a perfect way to plan.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm going to plan ahead because I know I'm going to forget this. I'm going to put it into my notes.
Love it, dude.
See, no excuses. But anyways, with that being said, it's whatever it is you're building in your life, whatever it is you're doing in your life, you need to go back to step 1. And I'm not saying, oh, step 1 because they're my steps. Nothing's mine. No. I came into this world with my ears open, half the time not even listening.
Yeah.
But as soon as I decided to listen, I learned from what other people said. And most of that comes from the Bible anyways. It's just interpreted in inspiration and motivational ways. But a self-evaluation, that's something the military taught me. And I decided just to do it.
Right.
Take action.
Do it.
Go. Right?
There you go.
Man, love it, dude. Many of you guys that are married, think about it, dude. When I saw my wife, I took action to say hello to her, even though she was way more prettier than I could ever dream of.
Yeah.
But had I not taken action, bro, I wouldn't have kids. I wouldn't live where I live. You know what I mean?
It's true, dude. Yeah.
Just take action in the good way, bro. You know?
Yeah. But I agree. It's inevitable. You have to move. You can't sit still.
Yeah. Ooh, dude, I love how you said that right there. So when I was making bad choices, my brother said, if you're not going backwards, if you're not going forwards, you're going backwards. And I told somebody that, and he's like, dude, you're an idiot. Like, because you could just stay still. And it's like,
does the earth stay still?
That's just it. Okay, I was in jail, bro. I just got in trouble. I was in jail, and I looked out the window, and everybody else was going on with their lives.
Yeah.
You know what I realized? Nobody cares about you. As crappy as that is, nobody cares that you're there.
Yeah.
Nobody cares that you're in pain until it directly affects their life. You know, your mom and dad, they might care, you know, and it's sad.
Yeah.
You know, do you care about that little boy in Afghanistan right now that's begging for food and you could see his bones? Let's get serious, bro. Are you sad for him?
I don't know him.
I don't know him.
Yeah.
I seen it, but I don't know him. I have no emotional tie. Is that sad? Absolutely. I don't think life should be like that.
Yeah.
But that's just proof until it negatively impacts me or impacts me in a certain way.
Yeah.
We don't care.
Yeah.
As soon as I was right there and I sat down, I was like, nobody cares I'm in here. That was one of my wake up moments. That and standing in front of that judge and a story about Rick Rasmussen where I'm just like, holy cow. Like, dude, it is up to you. And as soon as you man up or woman up or level up and then you start a family, now it's about everybody underneath your umbrella.
That's true, man.
And I think, and I think the most legendary people of all time, if we're talking like what's a legend, I think people that are a true legend, they're the people that help other people live a good life.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
You don't know what you don't know. And the only way you can see it, what's the first way? Inspiration, motivation. You got to be. So here's, and I've shared this with a few people, but so my mom, we left Emory County because she went into rehab. And when she got out of rehab, there was just too much resistance.
Yeah.
To stay home. And it's nobody's fault. It's just what happened.
Yeah.
And so she needed to start over. And so we moved to Salt Lake. We moved to the mouth of Little Cottonwood Canyon. There's a lot of money up there.
Yeah.
And I love my roots of Emory County. They've made me who I am. I'm so grateful for them. But to step in an environment where the minimum home is $1 million home. Now, we didn't move into $1 million home. We rented a basement apartment through a connection of a family member.
Bro.
But to be surrounded all of a sudden by a completely different world of money.
Yep.
Where I was like, wait
there's more.
A minute.
Wow.
This is different. Like,
wow.
I love them. We got horses here. I got a 1985 horse trailer. I still got my roots, dude. Like, I'm okay with it.
And this is a beautiful house, by the way. When he said I'm on top of the hill, literally into his driveway, into this oasis.
Dude, that would be fun on the 3-wheel.
Oh, dude. Seriously.
Coming down not on the 3-wheel.
Dude, you need to make a video doing that. Like, never too old.
But, it was, having the vision opened up of what was possible.
And look what you're doing now.
What was different.
So do you think your mom maybe had to go through that experience to put you in that situation to change your whole family generation forward?
1,000%.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like, if you really think about that, see, most people are like, my freaking mom, she screwed me over.
No, how
it's
did
like,
this happen for me? Didn't happen
exactly.
to me.
Accountability is you need to be accountable for how you are moving forward.
100%, dude.
You know what I mean? And so I loved how you said that, dude. And so when you said that, I'm like, dude, no way. Like, shame on my mom and your mom for the stuff they did, but who are we to judge, right?
Yeah.
Jesus teaches that in the Bible in many stories, right? He who throws the first stone, let him throw the first stone that hasn't sinned. You know, it's
good
luck.
luck.
Dang,
Everybody walked away.
Everyone walked away, bro.
Yeah, no, it's a real
So
thing.
you saw that and you just know this is it.
Something else.
Like
is
why
different.
why would I want, dude, I love that. And there's another public speaker on that topic. He said, if you want to change, you got to change. Jim Rohn said it best. You're not a tree.
Yeah.
Move.
Yeah.
See, most people, they get into these jobs and then they get in debt and then they think, I can't move. Dude, when you were 18 years old, 19 years old, you had nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You had to go leave your parents and go find a job. You see, a lot of these people, they're so strapped. Sell your house and start over. What's keeping you from starting over?
Yeah.
You get breathing room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this speaker said, and I love this, when I was in Delta, I was a dumbass. Like, that's what people called me. Like, I was that. They saw my flaws. They saw that I was trying to build a speaking business. As soon as I moved to Payson, hey, what do you do? I'm a motivational speaker. I also work in the coal mines, and we have another small business. Well, you are? And then they get on, and you get to be whatever you want to be. Literally, on Instagram, I could put I'm a doctor right now. Is it the truth? No, but I could. And in everybody else's eyes.
Catch Me If You Can. You seen that movie?
Yeah. Dude, there you go. Right? You just start telling people you're that, they will automatically assume.
Which then, this brings us full circle to the whole idea of AI being so powerful. So AI will definitely influence the whole mental health space.
Oh, amen.
Therapists, therapies, all therapists?
Therapists?
No, therapists. That's what we'll call them.
Therapist? Okay.
Yeah. It'll affect all of that.
Yeah.
But what will not change is that level of authenticity that only a human can have by being honest and living on the foundation of truth. If they are honest and in alignment with truth of who they really are, those are the legends. Yeah. Those are the dudes that can inspire people to be like, no, dude, I really did it.
Yeah.
And if I did it, you can do it. I guarantee you can do it because I did it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And there's legendaries in every realm, right? You know, I was given and people get divorced. Have you ever been divorced?
Never.
Yeah, marriage is hard. I'm not hounding on anybody that's divorced, but how legendary is it to have one marriage?
Oh, dude.
You see what I'm saying,
But how much effort does it take?
That's what I'm getting at. There was a video of two old people and, you know, the wife's hitting the husband. He did something wrong. You know, I mean, we all do, you know, and somebody put the meme like, I wonder how long or how much forgiveness it took him to get here. Yeah. And it's like, and we didn't dissect into that. Could have been fake. They could have just been dating. Yeah. But, you know, it made me think like, man, you know, being married to the same person, that's legendary because it's hard. And one out of every two people aren't now. And who knows?
Look at Steve and Caroline.
Man. Let's hope it doesn't happen to me.
Going hard,
you know what I mean? But
they've been married for a long time. 11 kids, bro. 7. And then I have 7 kids myself. And so in my mind, I'm like, could I adopt 4 more?
Yeah, from a different culture. Yeah. Where drugs and sex and all sorts of stuff influenced their eyes before they were even in kindergarten. You know what I mean? Like, there's a whole different, you know, and dude, crazy.
Yeah, dude, it's, and they're still married, dude. They're still
married. They're still married, bro.
They're still going strong. No, and so there was on that note, I had a leader, mentor of mine, that was sharing a story about his brother-in-law who was going through a divorce. And they had just moved him out of the house. And when they got everything into the U-Haul truck, they sat on the front porch with the pizza. And they were eating the pizza, and the brother-in-law looked at him and said, dude, if I knew divorce was this hard, I would have tried a lot harder when I was married. Yeah. Like, there's gonna be moments of us either way, dude. Yeah. So
I love that. Yeah. I love how you just said that. In my family science class, again, it's books, right? It's not, maybe they're based off experience. Well, you know, proof of relationship doctors and specialists and stuff. It all comes down to, okay, what is the number one reason for divorce? Just off the top of that, there's no right answer. Number one reason for divorce, you think?
I think it's lies, dude.
Lies? Okay. Yeah. A lot of people would say maybe money. Okay. Right? Now, how could I say this without butchering it? unspoken expectations.
So it's lies.
Well,
You didn't tell me what you really wanted, bro. And
exactly.
I told you what you wanted to hear.
And imagine if that's not voiced.
Right.
That's what I was trying to say. So unvoiced expectations. Like if your wife has a certain expectation of you, but she never tells you, doing a self-evaluation.
Or if I never hear.
Or if you never hear,
she's told
again
me.
With the self-evaluation.
Yeah.
How's that going to negatively impact your marriage?
Right in the
Right.
face.
So that's the thing. It's like, oh, it's communicating. Oh, communicate. Oh, screw you. I'm getting my motorcycle anyways. And then, it offends people.
Yeah.
So I think back to that, it comes down to if people would just do more of a self-evaluation. And me and my wife's not perfect.
Yeah.
I'm probably in trouble right now for something.
I doubt it.
You know what I mean?
She's not your mom.
Yeah. I can do what I want.
No, you can't.
She'd be mad at me all she wants.
You can't. But
So my point is, we all fight, but we all have to forgive, forget, get over it. And all that goes back to not because they're in my book, it's because I've learned them from other people, is if you're constantly doing that, that's why praying is so good.
It's huge.
Because not only are you
It's
praying to what
God.
you believe, thank you, it's accountability, you're doing all that. If I literally bow my head and I evaluate what please God, bless it all. I just evaluated myself. Please bless that I will what? Because I evaluated myself and I know that I need more of that. So therefore, I'm doing a self-evaluation. I need this. I'm taking accountability of this. I'm believing that I could do this. Help me get this. I need to make a plan. And then I'm taking action of praying.
100%.
Isn't that crazy?